Welcoming everyone to Flyover Footy, presented by Noble Ice Vineyards. My name is Matt Baker, here for another midweek edition where we look at city news and give an MLS roundup, looking at some of the top matches from this past week, while giving a big picture of how other teams around St. Louis City SC are performing, especially in the Western Conference. First off, let's look at some city news. City is off for a few days to start this week with their bye week coming up in MLS, so let's look at some news from the club. There's a new CITY2 signing, Oscar Benitez. On Tuesday, April 23rd, CITY2 announced the signing of defender Oscar Benitez to an MLS Next Pro contract for the remainder of the 2024 season. Benitez is a 19-year-old Colombian-born player who played youth soccer in Brazil with RB Bragantino 2 and has played with the U20 team in Brazil. Head coach Bobby Murphy said on the signing, quote, Oscar has the defensive instincts and characteristics necessary to compete at a very high level and thrive within our game model. We are all very excited to watch his progression throughout the season. Though listed as a defender, Transfermarkt does show that his primary position historically is a central defensive midfielder who also plays some center back. Where he slots in for CITY2, how soon, and whether this will impact other players is yet to be seen, though I think this is likely too soon to be thinking of the Benitez signing as indicating anything for players like Michael Wenzel regarding his first team status or anything like that. CITYPARK's grass is being removed and resodded. As the club said this week, in an effort to keep CITYPARK's pitch in top condition and due to grass lifespan, St. Louis City SC's grounds crew, as well as the team at Bush Turf, will remove CITYPARK's current grass and resod a new pitch. As with the current pitch, the new sod is custom-grown Northbridge Bermuda grass produced by Carolina Green Corp at their farm located in North Carolina. From looking around the internet, it looks like the lifespan of grass fields, according to Keystone Sports Construction, is around 100 hours. That means around 50 games or so. And with St. Louis having put in their grass in the back half of 2022, this makes sense. Classify this last part as bad news for collectors out there, though. As reported by Sean Malone of KMOX, the field is considered intellectual property and is not going to be for sale, but rather be composted. Too bad for all those collectors out there. April 23rd was the last day in the MLS primary transfer window. Cedric Tukert, the 27-year-old striker from Hannover 96 in the 2 Bundesliga, is the only player who's been a rumored signing lately, along with a short list of about 5 other unnamed players that Lutz and Bradley are looking at. However, as we learned previously, Hannover's transfer asks appeared to be too great for City, though Tukert is a free agent this summer. So odds are City will be landing a new striker this summer as opposed to right now, as the window has closed and St. Louis did not make a move, so we have the summer to look forward to. Now let's look at 5 key matches from last week and what their impact to City was. It was a high-scoring week across MLS. There were no matches that ended in a 0-0 draw, and only 2 matches had less than 2 total goals scored. Some teams who've impressed so far continued to impress, and while MLS standings are usually congested this time of year, we are definitely seeing some separation at the very top and bottoms of the standings. This past week furthered the struggle for teams like Chicago Fire, Nashville SC, and the New England Revolution in the East, all of whom lost and all sit bottom 3 in the East. Likewise, in the West, the bottom 3 are the Seattle Sounders, FC Dallas, and San Jose Earthquake, who all lost as well. We're going to get into some of these clubs in our 5 key matches of this past week who continue to tumble down the standings, and all of whom have single-digit points. First up in our match list is the Columbus Crew and Portland Timbers with a 2-2 draw. This Portland team is still trying to find their identity under new head coach Phil Neville. They twice went ahead and still managed to take a point away to one of the better teams in MLS, and the only team still managing a congested schedule with CONCACAF Champions Cup in the Columbus Crew. On the goals, scoring his 4th goal in as many games, Felipe Mora started it off at 10 minutes with assists by Santiago Moreno and Eric Williamson. This one went into the half with the Timbers up 1-0. But the Crew would even it quickly in the second half as Cucho Hernandez tied it at 51 from Mohamed Farsi and Diego Rossi in a build-up from their right side. Just 6 minutes later, Santiago Moreno would put the Timbers up again with a goal from Evander and Felipe Mora, but it wasn't enough to hold the lead, as Steven Moreira scored a Goal of the Week nominee from range at 74 minutes, his second MLS regular season goal, and this one finished 2-2. Columbus dominated this match, mostly earning 62% possession and outshooting Portland 25-6 and 9-3 in shots on target. The Crew also had more passes, more duels won, and higher XG to go along with their shot contributions. Columbus falls to 4th in the East with 14 points after this draw, 4 back from Miami, and Portland now have 10 points in the West in 11th place. They sit 8 points behind leaders LA Galaxy and 2 points behind St. Louis City, who have 12. Colorado Rapids 2, FC Dallas 1. Another team with a new head coach, but in Colorado Rapids' Chris Armas, one that's having a bit more success to start the year. This match nearly went into halftime scoreless, but a deflection off of an FC Dallas defender, Sebastian Ibiega, went into his own goal to give the Rapids a 1-0 lead at half. Just 4 minutes into the second half, a poor transition and backdoor defending by Dallas led to Calvin Harris scoring a goal, assisted by Kevin Cabral and Georgi Mihailovic. That sent the Rapids up 2-0. FC Dallas was able to have the lead at 87 off a Peter Musa goal from Liam Frazier, but that would be it for the scoring, and the Colorado Rapids take all 3 points. It was a fairly even matchup in the stat book, but FC Dallas has now gone winless since February. They've scored no more than 1 goal in a single game since that time as well. They'll look next week to Copa Tejas against Houston Dynamo to try and not go 2 full months without a win. Meanwhile, the Colorado Rapids move up to 4th in the West and have not lost a match since March 23rd. These next 3 are key because they highlight the separation I spoke of earlier. Top 3 teams beating up on bottom 3 teams in mostly convincing fashion. First off, Real Salt Lake 4, Chicago Fire nothing. The Fire started off behind the 8 ball when Brian Gutierrez was injured during warmups, but RSL had their own injury issue as their center backs were injured during the week, and it set up 2 fullbacks to play at center back for RSL. RSL won the game early, though, it has to be said. A goal at 24 minutes by Andres Gomez from Alex Catranas and Chicho Arango before Arango went off with a brace at 33 and 37. The latter was assisted by Brian Oviedo before a 90-plus 3-minute stoppage time goal from Diego Luna that had Chicho Arango assisting at an insult to injury. Chicho Arango earned his man of the match day honors with a 2-goal and 2-assist performance en route to the shellacking of the Chicago Fire. RSL moved to 3rd in the West, while the Fire fell to 13th in the East. Chicago looks to improve their fortunes next week against the New England Revolution before traveling to CITYPARK on May 11th to face St. Louis City. Vancouver 2, Seattle 0. This Cascadia Cup matchup saw a top-of-the-table team against a bottom-of-the-table team, but it might not be what you expect from historical finishes. Ryan Gauld from Vancouver finished a good Whitecaps chance at 58 minutes from Sam Adekugbe and Andres Cubas, while Brian White added a goal at 71 from Tristan Blackman on a clinically tremendous high-press turnover. This one was impressive. One of the worst you're going to see from Seattle, but also one of the best from Vancouver. This match offered a look at in-stadium VAR announcements as Jackson Reagan received a straight red card on a dangerous tackle in the middle of the field. Seattle played about 35 minutes down a man, but then they played 15 minutes or so down 2 men. After going down 2-0, Seattle's Alex Roldan received a straight red card after blowing his foot into the back of the leg of Vancouver's Ali Ahmed. Just a terrible tackle. Vancouver remains with this 2-0 win one of the most impressive teams in terms of their 2024 performance, but also improvement on 2023, as they remain 2nd place in the West, 2 points off the Galaxy. And Seattle, well, Seattle falls to 12th place with just 1 win through 8 matches, sitting with only 6 points. The LA Galaxy with 4 goals against the San Jose Earthquake, 3 ends our look, and this was the 100th edition of the Cali Clasico, certainly delivering in a Sunday evening highlight. Familiar names to City fans will lead this off with goals. Gabriel Peck scored at 14 minutes from Dejan Joveljic, Joseph Paintstill at 24, and Maya Yoshida from Paintstill at 30 made this look like it was really going to be an incredibly one-sided affair. But credit to the San Jose Earthquake. They didn't give up. A quick first half goal at 32 minutes by Rodriguez from Christian Espinoza pulled them to within 2, but then in the second half, the Galaxy came out strong. Ricky Puig scored a goal at 56 from Gabriel Peck and Dejan Joveljic before San Jose scored 2. The first by Benji Kakanovic at 58 and Jeremy Abobasi unassisted at 72. San Jose couldn't quite make the full comeback at Dignity Health Sports Park, though, and the Galaxy held on to keep their 3 points and lead atop the West. San Jose showed some fight in them after going down and sit middle of the pack in goals with 13, not unimpressive, despite being dead last in MLS in goals allowed with 24 through just 9 games. The LA Galaxy continue to dominate offensive categories in MLS. They have their 2nd in goals scored, 2nd in expected goals, 2nd in assists, 2nd in progressive carries, and 4th in possession per game. As I said, the Galaxy are 1st and the Quakes are last in the West. The Quakes clearly have no defense despite a more than anemic offensive capability, but there appears to be no stopping the Galaxy attack so far in this season. They lead the West in goals scored, the only team with more than 20 so far in the West, and it's just Inter Miami and the LA Galaxy at this point atop those goals scored. Devastating opposing defenses, just truly. It's something I'm sure MLS league offices are absolutely loving with teams in Miami and LA doing so well. In the Western Conference and in the Eastern Conference, for that matter, some updates on the standings and where St. Louis sits. St. Louis sits in ninth place total in the West, eighth most goals scored in the West, sixth most goals conceded, and tied sixth for the best goal differential. Looking across the league at the standings right now, there's two teams that have really broken free in both conferences. LA Galaxy in the West, 2 points clear, and Miami in the East, 2 points clear. This early in the season, 2 points is about as far away as you're going to get. Miami, New York Red Bulls, FC Cincinnati, and the Columbus Crew are the top four in the East, while LA Galaxy, Vancouver Whitecaps, Real Salt Lake, and the Colorado Rapids are the top four in the West. St. Louis sits ninth, as I said, with 12 points, tied with LAFC and Austin FC. Very congested as St. Louis City sits just 4 points off second, 6 points off first, despite only having 2 wins so far in this season. St. Louis doing just about everything they need to do to remain competitive, though we would like to see some of those draws turned into wins. But looking at some of these team stats and where City stacks up, City is second in the entire league with 147 shots, behind only LAFC. On shots on target, St. Louis sits fifth in MLS with 48. Expected goals, City is sixth in MLS. And on non-penalty expected goals, St. Louis sits ninth, so sitting in the top half of all of those categories. City is fourth in the league in corner kicks taken with 54, another notable stat so high up, trailing leaders LAFC by just 2. St. Louis is creating a ton of chances in their attacking third, and the stat line is showing that in number of corner kicks taken. There you have it. The key games, key takeaways, and perspective for where City sits in their 9 matches played in MLS and heading into a bye week. Thank you so much for tuning in to this midweek edition of Flyover Footy. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, podcast, and leave us a 5-star rating and a review if you can. It really helps us out. Until next time, go City.